Good morning, folks. Today I want to discuss a problem I've noticed while working with California state parks that many people may not know about. California state parks are announced as some of the greatest parks in the country, yet they're so critically understaffed and underfunded. I've worked as a California state parks lifeguard for about 4 years now, and while I was hired at Folsom Lake, I have worked for several other state parks around the area because of the shortage of state employees at most parks. I worked at Tahoe, Coloma, Oroville, and have had other opportunities to also work at Auburn and Prairie City. I often wondered why these other parks needed so much help with staffing, and I started doing a little research on state budgeting. How much money is actually going towards state parks? I found out that there are over $1 billion in deferred maintenance costs. Deferred maintenance costs mean there's basically this money that state parks asked to keep their parks maintained, and the state did not find it necessary, and it was deferred to a later date. So I'm talking about super rundown storage sheds and maintenance closets that are literally just abandoned offices with broken windows, and they're just falling apart. The equipment that's stored in there basically is falling apart too, and it's just atrocious. Everything is tattered and partially broken, yet it's still being used, and because the funds are wrongly allocated. These things are necessary to be fixed so that the few employees parks have can do their job safely and effectively. This didn't make sense to me because parks are loved and so is nature by everyone, yet they're being neglected by state legislature dealing with the budget cuts, and I didn't understand why. So back in 2011, state parks took a huge budget cut that affected almost all state park programs across California. About 70 state parks were in danger of actually being shut down, and many programs had to make huge cuts to their staffing and equipment use. Closing state parks is not a task that gives anyone joy, but we are experiencing turbulent times that necessitate deep, almost unthinkable cuts to public service. That was Governor Jerry Brown at the time. He said in a statement about the budget cuts, public services should not be the first thing to take the budget cuts. And they already have so much that has been taken from them. And yet they're still taking budget cut after budget cut. State parks evoke a sense of joy in people that visit them because of the connection between human and nature. And this is a post that California State Parks had. I just wanted to share this post with y'all just to show some of the numerous benefits nature has for people's well-being. And state parks give people a place to be in nature safely and recreate in a more safe manner. People have always had so much admiration for nature, and state parks gives this protected natural environment for everybody. Altogether, the parks that were scheduled for closure attracted about 5.6 million visitors a year. That's a huge hit to the amount of money state parks can accrue from visitors for parking passes, camping, and other fees. Without these parks, it would only decrease the amount of money for parks, and sooner or later, they probably would have all closed. During this tough period of time for state parks, a solution came up that would just show how much people really care about state parks. A nonprofit called Friends of Santa Cruz State Parks decided to start funding and volunteering at one of the parks that was in danger of being shut down. This paved the way for more and more parks to use this partnership method in order to stay open. State parks are slowly becoming totally owned by nonprofits. I don't know how a state park can be called a state park if it's not run by the state. The government needs to start taking responsibility for what they claim as their own. Another thing, people don't think about the big picture of where their money is actually going within the parks. All the money that the park earns goes towards a general fund of all the state parks. And then some of the money is taken by the government and a specific amount is funneled back into the parks program, along with some of the money from other taxes and propositions that have been made. Money is distributed by legislature to the different state parks, usually based on how well the park is doing and how many visitors they can attract. It could be going towards a maintenance worker's salary that helps keep the park clean. It could be going to a new visitor center or equipment for the rangers. These things all make parks a better place for visitors. Parks are already so understaffed and they need all the money they can get to pay their employees.
California State Parks, a hub of outdoor fun. They can be packed or they can be isolated. Either way, you want you and your family to be safe, with peace officers present and help at the ready when you need it.
50% of our parks are so critically understaffed that they're not safe.
Not safe due to a critical shortage in the number of peace officer park rangers.
I wouldn't go, I wouldn't recreate, and I wouldn't tell my family to go or recreate in them.
Why not?
There's no eyes there to make sure that the people who are causing problems get taken care of, whether it's medicals, search and rescue, or law enforcement. There's just not enough bodies to handle it. I'd say in about 50% of the parks.
Support state parks, and they will be around for many more generations to enjoy. Thank you.